All right, so we're live. So waiting for people to show up, just kicking off this live session. It's 8 o'clock, so we'll start getting things rolling here in a little bit. So take some time for everyone to show up. Right. So welcome. Those of you who are joining in, those of you who will tune in. Best part about these sessions is they are recorded. So if you do miss one on a Friday, don't worry. They'll be recorded and you can always tune back in. Hey, everyone who's showing up. It's so great to see everyone. Hey, Dawn. Hey, Adam. Long time no see. Glad to see you there. So awesome to see everyone tuning in, hopping on. We'll get started here in a little bit. But just take time to show up, like wherever you are, no matter where you are in the world, right? Wherever you're tuning in from, just take a moment just to find some presence, find some of that connection, find some space. It's a beautiful thing when we can all come together for a little bit of time and spend some time together. Hey, Annette. Everyone's showing up. I love it. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you taking time out of your Friday evening to come spend some time with me. So let's take some deep breaths, right? Inhale and exhale. Just let your breath do the thing it does. Your body knows how to breathe. We just have to let it do what it naturally does. So just let it do what it naturally does. This is your Friday night Wild Heart session. So a little different than our last session. So after our last session, I kind of decided I wanted to shift and take things in a different direction because of the feedback I got. People had some very specific questions about some very specific things. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to engage with you all through this medium and to address that specificity, because if those are things that are coming up, then that's where we'll spend our focus. And I think it's a powerful way for us all to come together as a tribe and to ask questions. And if you do have questions as we're going through this process on this or anything else that we're discussing, just put it in the comment section and I'll definitely bring it up as we're going through these. And then if there are topics you'd like to see me discuss on this broadcast, feel free to send me a message or post and I will add it to my list. I have a nice long list that I'm building of things that we're going to be discussing on this broadcast. So a lot of you knew I used to do a radio show, and this is kind of that new medium where we can interact a little bit more directly. And I love it. I love that we can use technology in this way for us to kind of bridge that gap so that we can come together and co-create this really powerful experience. And tonight we're going to be talking about motivation, and we're going to talk about the experience and the practice of showing up. And it's a conversation that comes up a lot, especially in regards to fitness, but not just fitness, life. Showing up is probably one of the hardest things we'll ever do. And showing up and being present is a powerful act. And when we are able to more fully engage that space, when we're able to take those steps to find presence, and not just presence, but to start with that first step. Before presence is just showing up. And that is the hardest thing most of us will ever do in any experience. And I'm going to relate a lot of stuff that I'm talking about tonight through the fitness space, but I find that the fitness space is a microcosm for some of that bigger stuff that's happening all around us in the world. So as we start talking tonight, we'll kind of link and bridge those gaps and have discussions around that stuff as it comes up. And as we're going, if you have questions, post them. Hey, everyone that's showing up. Hey, Lonnie. Hey, Anthony, Candace, Vaughn, Michael, Paul. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the session. So every Friday night, 8 o'clock p.m., I'll go live and we'll start the conversation right around 8:05-ish. So give you some time to show up. And remember, these are recorded. So I will keep them up on my Facebook page. So let's just take a moment now that we're all here just to breathe, right? Hey, Dixie. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Exhale. Inhale deep. One more time. Inhale. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Just exhale. So showing up is hard, right? Showing up is something that requires us to take a leap of faith sometimes. In fitness, for example, a fitness class, the heaviest rep you'll do in a fitness class is pulling the door open to walk into the space. And there's always a level of fear around showing up. And part of that fear around showing up is knowing that once we show up, things change. And a lot of us don't necessarily deal with process change well. But change is one of those things that's going to happen whether you show up or not, right? Change is one of those constant, consistent things in our lives. And what showing up allows us to do is it allows us to take a proactive step in engaging change. It allows us to take that step that's necessary for us to affect greater shifts in a more conscious way. When we're consciously engaging the experience, we're now driving the car. We are now partaking and participating in that experience. And if we're looking at moving towards mastery, right? And mastery is one of those big words. We're looking at moving towards integration, which is also a form of mastery, working on integrating our experience. We have to show up. We have to find presence. And for everyone, the process of showing up is going to be different. Showing up isn't easy. I find for me, showing up has to be directly linked to accountability. Accountability is an important part of mastery. Without accountability, mastery is just kind of happening in this vacuum. When we are moving towards accountability, we're not just showing up to ourselves, we're showing up with others. We're showing up to commitment. And through that space, we begin driving intention. So it's one thing to have a goal, but when we keep that goal nice and quiet and tucked in, we may or may not achieve it, but once we put that goal out into the world, we realize that when we start showing up, others will also show up as well. And that's a beautiful thing, like these broadcasts, right? I could broadcast and stream and it could just happen in this vacuum and it could just be me, and that would be great, and I'd still do these broadcasts. But knowing that there's a level of accountability, like people are waiting. They're like, when we show up to a class, like if I'm teaching a class at 12, those folks are usually there at 11:45 waiting. There's accountability to show up, and showing up then allows us to do the work and allows us to consciously engage the work in a way that proactively shifts our experience. Because remember, change is going to happen with or without your participation. So when we are able to participate in change, we then get to process the stuff that's coming up as it's coming up, but we also get to be the director. We get to make decisions regarding change. And it also requires honesty. Showing up means sometimes we show up to the mess. Things get messy. Life gets messy. And I think one of the big things we have to remember, especially with life, is that it's okay for things to get messy. I think there's this idea that things have to be perfect and things have to be ready for us to show up. And I think that's the worst way of looking at something, because that's a barrier between us and that process that's going to start. If I have to buy every book possible on fitness before I start fitness, then I'm never starting fitness when I could just start. And we don't have to have all the answers, and we don't have to know exactly what it is we're doing to show up. Well, that's one of the things I love about teaching group fitness classes is often we have people who show up for their very first time, and it's like they've never done this before, and it's beautiful. Someone asked me today, when I'm on stage and I'm teaching, like I taught body attack tonight, and body attack's this really crazy, wild class where we're jumping, we're moving, we're tuck jumping, we're doing burpees, we're jumping side to side, the music's really loud and we're screaming and yelling and having a great time. But I'm smiling the whole time, and she asked me, how can I smile and like teach this class that's super intense? And I'm doing all the reps with everybody. And for me, it's that place of showing up together. When we are in a place of communion, when we're in that place where we're showing up to each other, and it's a beautiful thing to see everyone moving and breathing and connecting and all of that stuff happening all at the same time. How can I not smile? It's this coming together, and coming together to impact and affect that bigger stuff, that larger thing. And when we show up to ourselves and we show up together, and this was her first time in class, and she showed up, and it's messy. Like, we don't know all the steps. We don't know the choreography. We may stumble. I stumble even as I'm teaching sometimes. And showing up means showing up to the mess and knowing that it's okay for things to get messy. It's putting our hands in the soil and being willing to get a little dirty. That's showing up. Showing up is also willing to cut your fingers on the shards and the rocks that are in the soil. Because showing up also means that we may have to show up to that pain that exists just behind what's there. And showing up does mean something's going to start changing, right? And it's not always perfect. When we show up to fitness, right? When we show up to the fitness, we get sweaty, it gets messy, it gets dirty. The next day, we're sore. It's hard. And yes, it's hard. When people ask me, your class is hard, I'm honest. Yes, absolutely. Because when things are hard, we grow. When there's challenge, we grow. When we are embracing and stepping into that invitation that adversity offers us, we're able then to impact and shape our lives a little bit differently. So that's one of the beautiful things about fitness, and especially group fitness, is that when we are showing up and we are embracing adversity, we're stepping into challenge, we're allowing ourselves that opportunity to grow. Man, that's great. That's a beautiful thing. It's a very powerful thing. It's a very impactful thing. And that's something that I love, and I love seeing others step into that process. So showing up is that first step, right? Showing up is where it all begins. It's where we take those little steps, and accountability is one of those big things. And one of the things I'm thinking about doing, and if something you would want to participate in, is doing an accountability group, kind of a Wild Heart Fitness accountability group. It'll be free, some place where you can come in and we can see and be seen, a place for us to have some accountability around some of the things we may be engaging in our lives. And if that's something you want to do, either post it in the comments below or send me a message and say, hey, yeah, add me to the group, please. Like, add me, I want to be part of this. So that way we can start embracing and engaging some accountability. That is hard sometimes when we don't necessarily feel like we have a tribe. And I want to create a tribe for us to connect into together. So part of these broadcasts is going to be opening up and doing smaller group work where we can sit together, connect into that space. Hey, Shauna, I'll definitely add you to the group. So we can engage that space together in much smaller spaces, so we can do deeper accountability work. When we are able to show up to ourselves, first, I'd recommend journaling. So if you're not journaling, start journaling today, right? Journaling is where we can show up to a blank page. And journaling doesn't have to be like you're writing out everything. Just opening the journal and sitting with it is showing up. Showing up to a blank page is powerful. Blank page equates to possibility. It's a physical affirmation of opening, showing up to possibility. So when we can show up to possibility, we're creating space for opportunity. So take that thing and begin growing it. And what we can do through accountability groups, through journaling, and if you join the accountability group, know there's going to be homework. So there is going to be homework in the accountability group. It's not just, hey, I'm showing up, I'm here. I'm going to ping you. I'm going to ask you what's going on. I'm going to hold you accountable, and I expect you to hold me accountable, right? Hey, Mike, where's that Friday broadcast? When we start building accountability, we also start building trust. And when we start building trust in tribe, great things can happen, powerful things can happen. And I think that's one of the things that I hope that I can create through these broadcasts and through some of the smaller group work and bigger group work that we're going to do, is looking at, so Lulu asks, is this for fitness or diet? I'd say I'd like it to be linked into something body-centered, right? Because this is something like, say if my commitment and my accountability is going to be do like 5 squats a day, right? That's something tangible, and that's something very tactile, right? That's something measurable that we can say, hey, Lulu, did you do your 5 squats today, right? So it's making a commitment and setting an intention to show up to that commitment, and then asking others to help hold us in accountability to that thing that we're showing up to. And this isn't like a space of judgment. So if we don't show up, right? So say I don't show up to my 5 squats today, then we get to process that and say, well, what was my resistance around showing up to 5 squats, right? It could just be journaling. So it doesn't even have to be those things. So if my goal is to journal or to write a poem or to read a poem a day, or it could be something, right? It needs to be something tangible and measurable. And I want to start linking things into the fitness space, the body space, because this is where we actualize all this super cool spiritual stuff. Like all the meditation, all that stuff happens through the thing that is our body. It is when we talk about the temple of the soul, it is the conduit through which we experience this beautiful world around us. And I want us to do very physical things. And that could be breathing. So my accountability practice could be, I'm going to sit and breathe outside in the sunshine or in the moonlight. I'm going to do like 20 breaths tonight, super deep, super conscious. So it doesn't have to be something massive, but I want it to be body-centered, because when we center in on the body, we're returning to a place where we can show up, right? We show up here so that we can show up here. So the body and fitness becomes that invitation back to your body. And fitness doesn't have to be like 8,000 reps or squats or burpees or tuck jumps. It can be breathing. It can be going for a walk. It can be walking up and down the stairs, parking a little further away. So accountability, right, allows us then to show up to that thing a little more fully. So, and this is the beautiful thing about it too, is if you're like, but Mike, I don't know anything about fitness or nutrition or those things. Great, I know a lot about that stuff. So I'm here to help you. So we can get you moving in those directions, right? It's like, Mike, it's overwhelming. There's just too much stuff out there. Yes, there is. And my goal with these smaller groups, and when we start doing the accountability group, is to help you formulate your own plan. Because one of the things as a trainer or as a fitness coach is I don't like people being dependent on me. My job as a fitness instructor is to give you the tools to walk your path in a way that's aligned with your vision and intent. So what we do together is find that vision, find that intent, and then I will help you hone the tools to move in that direction. If I make you dependent on me as an instructor, as a personal trainer, as a fitness person, that's taking power away from you. And if I'm taking power away from you, you don't grow. My job is to put power there so that you can grow and be the most powerful person in your world, so that you can affect and impact change in your own experience. And that happens through accountability. And that happens through dialogue. That happens through asking and answering questions, through doing things like this. So with that, if people want to schedule one-on-one sessions to have those conversations, absolutely, that's what I'm here for. There's always space and opportunity for us to do those types of things. So let's shift into talking about motivation, right? Motivation. hard, right? Almost harder than showing up. Then there are some days where I'm probably more motivated to just sit and not do anything than I am to actually show up. So motivation and showing up really tie in together really well. When we are able to show up, we're able then to find moments of inspiration, which then may lead into motivation. But I find like once we start like setting goals for ourselves, once we start engaging accountability, motivation is so much easier to find. Accountability is fed through motivation, and motivation feeds accountability. I love this. I love fitness. I do. Like I teach sometimes 40 classes a week, and people are like blown away that I can teach that many classes. Like tomorrow, I'm running a half marathon. I did fitness all week, taught all my classes, running a half marathon tomorrow. Why? I just love this stuff. Like this stuff like excites me. It's like my passion. And my goal is to help connect other people into that passion, because once we're passionate about something, we're so much more able to motivate into those things we're passionate about. And my goal as a fitness coach is to get you motivated into your body, so then you can like go do all those really great, amazing things you want to do, whatever they might be. Like who knows what that thing is you want to do. We can, if you don't know, let's dig in. Let's find out what it is. Let's inspire passion to drive you towards that thing that's just going to shift your world. And maybe it's running a half marathon. Maybe it's just breathing. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's like touching my toes. Maybe it's doing some yoga. Maybe it's none of the above. Who knows what your passion might be? But what I recommend is finding some way to connect to your body and finding a way to hone in this space so that this becomes the conduit for passion, right? When the body is part of the process, things can like actually happen, right? So let's figure those things out. And then when we start figuring those little pieces out, motivation is so much easier to find. So what I recommend doing is each and every day going into your journal. Like one of the things that I do is go into my journal and I'll write, these are the things I'm excited about today. And I'd say, I'm taking this from Reiki, at the top of the journal page, right? Just for today, I'm excited about. What are you excited about? Could be anything. Pick something that you're excited about. Right below that, I want you to write, today my greatest challenge is going to be whatever you think your greatest challenge is going to be. Right below that, I want you to write, the step I'm taking to step into my challenge today is. What is that thing you're stepping into today to embrace your challenge? 3 little things, right? What's the thing I'm excited about today? What's going to be my greatest challenge today? And what step am I going to take into challenge today? And let that be the place where motivation begins to seep in. Motivation is this very intangible thing that kind of floats around us like air, right? We need it. When we inspire ourselves, right, through that deep breath, inspiration and motivation start coming in. But we have to look at honestly what those things are. Like if we look honestly at what the challenge is, we can then step into it. We can formulate a plan. And I'd say just for today, because tomorrow everything could be different. Tomorrow my passion may be someplace else. Like today my passion was totally centered around body attack. Like I love it. Love teaching that class. Tomorrow it's going to be centered around running, because I'm going to be doing a lot of it tomorrow, walking. And then next weekend, I'm doing this big CrossFit thing called Murph. It's a 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and another mile run. So next weekend, that's going to be the thing that I'm most passionate about. And I think passion doesn't have to be very specific. It can weave and ebb and flow and move and grow, and motivation begins feeding that space and growing that space, and we're fully connected and fully embodied in that stuff. Powerful things happen. I think that's where stuff starts to shift for us, both individually but then collectively. Can you imagine like being in a space where everyone's like super excited about the things about to happen? That's group fitness for me. And yeah, like not every day everyone's excited about doing burpees. I get it. right? Not everyone's excited about pushing that button on the bike and making the class harder. But holy crap, you showed up, and that's like the hardest part. Now that you're here, whatever we do, however many burpees we do or don't do, great, you're here. Like the fact some of you joined in tonight in this conversation, great, I'm so glad you're here. You took time to show up to something, even if it was just for a few minutes. So even if we just show up for a few minutes, it's a very powerful thing. It's allowing ourselves the opportunity to find presence and to find connection. And that's something that through the smaller group work, and once I'm gonna build the group out tonight, and I'll post it on my Facebook, and I'll add some of you who have asked to be added. And it won't just be an accountability group, it'll be a place for us to share information and to grow. It'll be a place for us to do gratitude work. In today's world, let's be honest, things are messy, more than messy. Things are like blowing up left and right. If we can find respite, if we can find a way to come back to the body, we can do the work necessary to affect and impact change. Self-care starts with showing up. It really does. And maybe it's showing up to Facebook scrolling. Maybe it's showing up to YouTube videos that make me feel a little happier. Maybe it's showing up to a Netflix binge. That's okay. That stuff is great. But what we don't want to do is check out. When we start checking out, then that's where all that other stuff comes in, that self-doubt, that self-loathing, that disconnect from both our body and from the world. We start then feeding ourselves those things that are going to hold us back from fully engaging the experience. So that's what we're going to create. We're going to create a space together, you and I, to, one, embrace accountability, two, to build tribe, to build connection, and three, to show up to each other, to show up together, to do the work necessary for you to be a fully empowered, wild soul, wild-hearted being in whatever way works for you. But understand that my work is going to be in connecting you to your body. So there are going to be fitness things and little things I'm going to give you. I'm also going to be doing videos where I post some fitness videos in the group. So that'll be something that I'll be offering the group. Small fitness routines, diet discussion, those types of things are things we'll also engage on this show. If there are things specifically that you want to see me talk about, put them in the comment section. I think once we're moving along a little bit, if there are questions you have one-on-one that you don't want to post to the group, send them my way so that we can have that conversation together to help you live the most empowered experience possible. Find your challenge. Find that space of stepping into and embracing the bigger you, right? There's this really amazing you that's waiting for you to show up. And I think that once we start showing up to that big, beautiful, wild soul that you are, God, so much stuff happens, right? It's infectious. It really is. And I think when we are doing that work together, gosh, like we're all like all over the world, all over the country, when we start showing up and then that energy starts hitting the spaces that we're entering, beautiful stuff can happen, right? And even if just beautiful stuff happens for you, that's all that I'm asking, is to just show up and let's hold each other accountable, right? Let's hold each other in loving space so that we can create growth and so that we can do the work that needs to be done. So, tribe, do you have questions? Are there things that you want me to talk about? So for those of you who just joined a little bit later on, things we talked about tonight were accountability and showing up. I'm going to be creating kind of a group for this these talks. So the Wild Heart Living group or something like that. I'll post it on my Facebook. If you want to be added, I've seen some of you say, yes, count me in, put me in the group. I'll add you to the group. And we'll just start doing some work. I'm also going to be opening up some workshops, some smaller workshops, online workshops. So if you're not in the area, totally fine. We'll do some online stuff together. And once I figure out how to stream some classes, I'll post some fitness routines that we'll do together or that you can go back and watch the videos and do on your own. I'm also going to be talking about meditation. So next week, the discussion is going to be around meditation and fitness, like how to meditate, like how do we do this stuff? You know, it's so hard to read a book and to figure out how to meditation because you're trying to read the meditation and do it. So we're going to talk about how to meditate, finding out and figuring out what's the best meditation for you, but also talking about how meditation can make fitness a much more powerful experience. Like, how do you integrate meditation and fitness? Like, how do those two go like this? So we create mindset that allows us to achieve our goals, which then allows us to affect and impact change. So see, all this stuff ties in. It's all like interwoven and connected, kind of like my tattoos. And someone asked me to do a show about my tattoos. So I'll like take you on a tour one day. So we'll like do some cool stuff on the show too. So beautiful people, if you have questions, post them in the little comment section. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have now. So I'll keep the line open here just for a little bit. Again, I thank all of you for joining me on these Friday night sessions. So every Friday night, 8 p.m., we'll be doing a broadcast. Broadcast will last about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Also, if you want, I'm going to be updating my website. I've kind of made some shifts in what I was offering before. So what I'm going to be offering is 101 coaching to help you find that thing, right? We'll meditate together. We'll do some deep breathing together. We may even do some body movement type stuff together. I may give you some assignments to kind of move your body a bit. But let's figure out what your goals are. Like having someone sit with you and actually have that discussion around finding a goal, finding motivation, and finding accountability can be a real powerful thing. So that's kind of the program I'm moving towards, and we use our intuitive space to do that. So a lot of great things are going to be happening here in the next couple of weeks. I'm really excited about how things are shifting on this channel, but also on my website, michaelbrazell.com. Guys, let me know if you have questions. You all, oh, let's see. How do you get started as a beginner in CrossFit? I'm very intimidated about this. It's a great question. How do we get started in CrossFit? CrossFit is intimidating, right? Why is it intimidating? So that's a really great question. It's a question I get asked a lot because CrossFit is this like big thing, right? It's scary. It really is. And even as someone who's done fitness and taught fitness for over 20 years, like I was scared the first time I went in because it was like stuff I'd never done before. And I think that's part of it, right? And I think another part of it is a lot of hype around, well, CrossFit, you're going to get injured. It's going to injure you. It's not going to injure you. You can just as easily get hurt walking down the steps as you can in a CrossFit class or any other fitness class. So let's remove that off the table before we even talk about CrossFit. So CrossFit is intimidating in that it is a bigger thing that we're stepping into. It's also, I think, intimidating too because you're stepping into community, which, remember, at the beginning of our conversation, we talked about accountability. So you're stepping into both community and accountability day one. And that's a shock to the system, right? You're stepping into a space you're going to be challenged in ways you might not have ever been challenged before. The hardest rep you're going to do in any CrossFit class is walking through the door. And you need to test the space. Like, absolutely, you should go in, ask questions. That's going to help you feel safer in those spaces. Don't be afraid to ask those coaches and that, like, how long have they been doing it? How long have they been teaching? What did they love about CrossFit? What did they find challenging about CrossFit? What was their first experience coming into the space? And then try a class out. Don't be afraid to walk in and try it out. I get the same question around yoga. Yoga can be super intimidating for people because it's weird, right? It is probably the weirdest fitness class you'll take. And people get intimidated because they don't know what the moves are. And just like CrossFit, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And there's still things in CrossFit I haven't even tried yet. There's like so much, constantly varied, functional movement executed at high intensity is what CrossFit is. So what that means is every day it's going to be something a little different. Every day you're working through adapting and shifting and growing and embracing that challenge. And CrossFit is hard. Why? Because we grow when we're challenged. And that's the beauty of CrossFit. But because we're growing through challenge, it's scary to show up because we're going to be asked to do things that are going to terrify the crap out of us. But if you really want to impact and affect change in your life, you got to do those things. And your coaches are going to help you get there. My job as a coach is to take you from point A to point B in the safest, most direct route possible. And those of us that have been doing this work for a long time are going to help you do that. Like at our CrossFit box, Cottontown CrossFit here in Columbia, South Carolina, that's what we do. Like we have smaller classes purposefully so that we can give you more direct coaching. And that's something to look at too. If like classes are super big, it's hard to get that individual attention, but don't be afraid to ask for it, right? So if you're going to a gym where the classes are bigger, say, hey, I'm new. Can you really put eyes on me so that I can feel safe in doing the stuff that I'm doing? So Megan says, I'm afraid of the burn. Yes. Be very afraid of the burn, especially if you're new, right? So 2 days later, that delayed onset muscle soreness sets in. So I just started like getting back into doing the workouts like at full force. And like my legs are like dying. And I have to, like right now, they are so sore. Like I'm touching my quads and they're sore. And I'm running a half marathon tomorrow. So we got to do it. We show up to the burn. Right? You show up to the burn, you show up to the stuff that you have to show up to. But Shauna, the biggest thing to do is just find a place and go. Commit to going and not being afraid to ask questions like you asked. Like, hey, how do I get started? I'm a beginner. Most places offer an onboarding program where you can like try it out, or they walk you through some of the steps. Like at our box, at our CrossFit gym, we offer a free Saturday class. And those are they're intense workouts, but you're also teaming up with other people. So it's a good like intro first step into CrossFit. And if you have questions about specific places, or you've heard some things about places and you want to ask questions, let me know, because I can definitely answer those questions for you. I love CrossFit. I love it dearly. It's like the thing I like. I get up at 5 o'clock to go teach a class. So I love CrossFit that much. So I'm gonna get up at 3:30 every morning to like get geared up to go help those folks go from point A to point B. So another question we got here, should I join a gym or use the one in my complex? Should I join a gym? What do you need to help you find accountability? Now, if I'm able to self-assess and to step in. So the thing about joining a gym, it's almost the same thing as just using your complex, except you're paying for one and not paying for the other. If you are going to, what I would recommend is if you're going to join a gym that has a group fitness program, because that allows you to not worry about equipment, which you just asked. Equipment is intimidating. Yes, equipment can be intimidating. So allowing yourself to join a gym that has group fitness allows you then to connect into community, because that's what we're really seeking. We're seeking that accountability through community, and we're also seeking knowledge. And group fitness is you're getting a coach or a trainer or a teacher, instructor from the class who's guiding you through the process. So you don't have to figure it out yourself. Like we come in, I teach my classes, we do all of our fitness things, you come along with me, I teach you, I guide you, I get you there safely. And then ta-da. When you show up by yourself, it can be overwhelming. And if you're not working with a trainer, or you're not able to do that research yourself and then apply it, it does get hard. So that's where a lot of people fall off the tracks, is they think they can do it all themselves. And sometimes we can, and sometimes we have to, because that's all we have. But if you know, like the honest thing is, if I know I'm not a good self-starter, I know I'm not able to hold myself to accountability that well, then I need to work with someone who's going to do that for me. I need to invest both the money and the time to get a trainer, or to join a gym that may cost me a little bit more, but I'm getting more for my money, i.e. I'm getting classes, I'm getting maybe a free session with a trainer from joining the gym. So that's what you have to look at. That's the bigger picture. Lula says, I have really bad knees. Perfectly fine. I have people in my classes who have knee replacements, hip replacements, shoulder replacements, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Fitness is infinitely scalable. So the other part, right, about showing up is letting us as your instructors know, hey, this is what I got going on in my body. Most of the times we'll ask the class, but I find sometimes people hold back and they don't want to share. So when you walk into class, Lulu, just say, hey, look, I have really bad knees. My knees are like aching. This is the issue that I'm having. And work with that coach, let that trainer know. And as a trainer, I can scale things down for you. Your trainers should be able to give you exercises that are comparable to what the class is doing, but allow you still to engage without injuring or re-injuring something in your bodies. So Megan says, drastic difference between yoga and CrossFit. Yoga is more my level of fitness. I am not a motivated self-starter at all. So I think, honestly, to be honest, I think yoga and CrossFit are on the same wavelength, meaning both of them require a complete leap of faith to show up to, right? They're both intense and extreme in their own ways. If you look at the fitness spectrum, there's like group fitness classes that are like lifting weights, or you're like doing HIIT workouts or whatever, and they're kind of like this. CrossFit and yoga are like way up here. Well, there isn't like CrossFit, well, technically CrossFit yoga. I teach a CrossFit type yoga where we're doing mobility to fix joints and core and all that stuff. But yoga's super weird. CrossFit's super weird. So they're like cousins, like way up here, like little cousins that kind of hang out, and they go well together. Yoga and CrossFit like were made for each other, right? They're both super challenging in the fact that you have to show up to something that's both mentally and physically challenging, but you get so much reward from showing up to it. But it also requires you to want to do the research, right? You have to like look into what that space is. And just like with CrossFit and yoga, like different studios do different things. There's no like unified, like everyone must do. Like I teach a Les Mills program, and we get choreographed music every quarter. We all across the world do the same choreography, music and stuff. CrossFit and yoga are not that. Like you walk into a space, that gym dictates based on their community what they're going to do. That yoga studio dictates based on their styling and their community what they're going to do. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Try it out. Like that's the best way. It's just to show up and try it out. But I think yoga and CrossFit really do like merge well together. I won't be able to join a gym for a while. Perfectly fine. You know, you don't have to join a gym. There's the outside. You can go for a walk. You can walk up and down your stairs. Squats, jumping jacks, simple things you can do at home are things that are easy to engage. Fitness does not have to be complicated. If I think that I have to join a gym to be fit, I'm already putting a barrier between me and that thing that could change my life or save my life. So fitness starts when you decide to embrace that challenge where you are. So if I have bad knees, bad shoulders, I'm overweight, I'm carrying a lot of stress in my body, whatever, right? We show up, whatever we can. There are infinite amount of stories. If you go on YouTube, you can see inspirational stories where people decided to make a change. And that's all it requires. We decide to make a change like today. And this is, you know, as much as people like to poo-poo Richard Simmons, like he was amazing in what he did. He got people to show up to stuff when other people tossed them aside. And maybe this was all they were doing because that's all they could do, but they did it. And most of them had radical life changes because if I can show up to this, just doing this with my arms, holy crap, that's creating a space for me to show up to something bigger and better, right? Because beyond that, then there may be burpees. Maybe there's something down the road because I showed up to this and I had someone who's willing to show up with me. God, magic happens. That's where accountability comes in. And that's one of the things we sometimes need in fitness is accountability. We need that stuff. Yeah, you know, people kind of poo-poo things that are out there. I love him. He's like the, you know, kind of the grandfather of like group fitness and serialized fitness and like on TV and stuff. So like he's like the one who like really check marked it off for us. But I think the thing I love about Richard Simmons was that he really did that thing where he went into spaces where other people weren't willing to go. So what's a burpee? Look it up. You know, burpee is a challenging exercise. If you do burpees every day, you're going to get fit fast. That's all I'm going to tell you. So look up burpees and fall in love with them. And your life will change. If you fall in love with burpees, like, you can fall in love with anything, to tell you the truth. So team, if you have any questions, let's post them in the comment section. I'm here for a little bit longer. Then we're going to sign off, and then we're going to log back in next Friday. I'm going to try to post little videos through the week too, just kind of little inspiration moments to kind of help you lock in to your journey, whatever it is that you're needing from me. I'm going to try to build the group tonight or tomorrow. I'll post it on my Facebook page. This is kind of going to be the hub. You know, I thought about, like, let me do like a fan page and stuff, but like, that's just too much work. So this is where we are. This is where we will meet. I will create the group so that we can post stuff to the group, so it kind of becomes more of a place where you can go back and rewatch the videos, a place where I can also post some of the fitness stuff that I'll be posting. I'm also going to be posting my blog, wildheartfitness.com. I'll be posting like recipes and tips and techniques and things to help you live a more engaged, wild-hearted experience, because that's what it's all about. Wild heart, wild soul. We connect into this place of being wild and free through our hearts and really embracing passion, and then we live this really beautiful, wild, big experience. And that's what it's all about, and that's what we're going to be doing together. So yes, Lulu, a lot of self-work, a lot of stuff that we have to take steps towards, and regardless of our health, you know, whatever's going on in our life, we try to find some balance. And first we have to show up so that we can find balance. Remember, we show up to the mess. Show up to the mess. We can't clean it until we show up to it. How do I start my day? Yoga or meditation or praying? You choose. There's no right or wrong. So that can't answer that question. Just have to do it. Pick one. You know, yoga, meditation, or praying. All the above. Rotate it. You know, pick one and build consistency. Consistency builds power. If I do 10 burpees a day every single day, by the end of the week, that's 70 burpees. That's a lot of burpees. You know, if I pray for 5 minutes every day, end of the week, that's 35 minutes of prayer. That's a lot of prayer. It's more than no prayer, right? If I do a minute of prayer a day, that's 7 minutes of prayer. That's great. That's more than 0 minutes of prayer, right? Doesn't matter. Don't look at, I need a specific number, because what happens is then we start like, oh, well, I didn't hit my 7 minutes today. Well, did I do any today? Maybe I did 2 minutes today. Maybe I forgot. Let me do my 2 minutes now. Great. Find something you can be consistent with and show up to it and just do it. All right, beautiful people, we are going to log off now because I don't want to make these too long. I want to keep them nice and compact, 30, 45 minutes of connection, communication, conversation, community, and let you get back into your day. Hopefully you were able to take something from this, pluck something out, go out this weekend, live a wild-hearted, wild-souled experience. Let's have a lot of fun together. Let's grow something amazing together, and let's do that work. Remember, I'm here to help you reach your full potential and to tap in to the greatest version of you possible. Team, much love. I love all of you. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Let's just take a couple breaths together to like release the energy. Breathe in. One more time. The light in me reflects and acknowledges the light in each and every one of you. May you all go out tonight in peace. May peace follow you and touch all of those that you encounter. Thank you for allowing me to be of service to you tonight. Have a great night. Ask questions. I'm always here to help you out. And until our next broadcast, live a wild-hearted experience. Embrace your wild soul. And I love each and every one of you. Have a good night.